Very good afternoon to our chief guest, Dr. Rajiv Kumar. Chairman, Board of Governors, IIM Visakhapatnam, Shri Hari S. Bhartiya. Our Director, Professor M. Chandrasekhar. Members on our Board of Governors. Officials from the Ministry of Education. Leadership of Andhra University. Senior officials of the central and state government. District and city administration. Members on the governing bodies of the Apex Industry Associations, recruiters, faculty and staff from IIM Visakhapatnam, distinguished guests and invitees, students and parents, members of the print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to the fourth and fifth convocation of IIM Visakhapatnam. I request the Chairperson, Board of Governors, to declare the convocation open.
I declare the convocation open.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणा वरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकर प्रभृतिभिः देवै सदा पूजिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा।
I request our Director, Professor M. Chandrasekhar, to present the Director's report.
Honorable Vice Chairman, Niti Aayog, Dr. Rajiv Kumar ji, respected Chairman, Board of Governors, Shri Hari Bhartiya ji, esteemed members of the board, all our patrons, benefactors, and stakeholders present in this August gathering, welcome to this function. I begin by congratulating all the students obtaining their degrees today. We crossed many key milestones in our exciting journey thus far, and I present before you an account of the same. Firstly, we are proud that year on year, an increasing number of students are preferring us over competition to realize their management education aspirations, an affirmation of what we are and what we stand for. Our 32-strong faculty team is the highest among our new age peers. They bring into the classroom precepts and practices born out of a judicious amalgam of impressive credentials in academics, research, and experience from top-notch institutions. They epitomize what Bertrand Russell, the Nobel laureate, said, and I quote, "Education is not to be viewed as something like filling a vessel with water, but rather assisting a flower to grow in its own way. More important than the curriculum is the question of the methods of teaching and the spirit in which the teaching is given. No man can be a good teacher unless he has a genuine desire to impart to his pupils what he believes to be of value," unquote. No saying can be more apt on this auspicious Guru Purnima day. This commitment finds reflection in the learning outcomes of our students when they win competitions pan-India and record 100% placements. They personify rare and valuable skills that Cal Newport, professor at Georgetown University, refers to in his famous book, So good, they can't ignore you. Our customized MBA program for experienced professionals is now into the third batch. These participants from reputed enterprises are practitioners of what John F. Kennedy said, leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. Their encouraging feedback is available in the public domain and attestation of the value we deliver. Our specialized MBA program in digital governance and management, designed in blended learning mode in 2019 itself, is a reflection of our foresight. It is the first of its kind in the country, sponsored by the National E-Governance Division, Ministry of Electronics and IT, Government of India. Into its second batch now, the program is building managerial capacities covering the full life cycle of Digital India projects from conceptualization to commissioning. Senior government officers, including from the IAS, are part of this prestigious program. Gratitude is therefore in order to MeitY for the confidence and trust reposed in us. We are also obliged to the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship for choosing us to conduct the 2-year Mahatma Gandhi National Fellowship Program. Our task is to train youth in public policy and management to play a facilitating role in skill development in every district of our own state, Andhra Pradesh, along with Bihar and Arunachal Pradesh. IIMB Field, the Foundation for Incubation, Entrepreneurial Learning and Development, our Section 8 company established last year, has gained good traction in a short time. As a technology incubation and development of entrepreneurship, tied center under MeitY and leveraging the National Innovation and Startup Policy of the Education Ministry, the company is giving huge impetus to technology-based ventures and women-led startups. Of the 50 plus women entrepreneurs from our incubation facility, more than 2/3 have recorded good success already, with each venture generating handsome cash flows and providing employment to 3 personnel on an average, which in fact is higher than the national average for MSMEs. This cohort is winning competitions, attracting investments, and is active in filing for patents, copyrights, and trademarks. We are proud that we are an enabler of their rise to fame. Another testimony to our success in this regard is the MOU we are signing 2 days hence on the 26th with the National Institute of Business Management, a premier business school under the government of Sri Lanka, to conduct a year-long diploma program in women entrepreneurship. We are also setting aside 1% of our yearly budget as an innovation fund to encourage entrepreneurship as a rewarding career. With such commitment to startups, we are contributing to the Make in India mission in our own humble way. The Institute has emerged as a much sought after source for capacity building for the government and business enterprises. I'm happy to report that in the last financial year alone, we delivered as many as 16,250 participant hours of training for 620 beneficiaries. I share with pride that we are the only IIM to be granted the prestigious Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Chair by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. This chair will help us pursue with even greater focus teaching and research in social equity and inclusiveness as enshrined in the IIM Act. We are only the third IIM to sign up for the Principles for Responsible Management Education, PRME, an initiative of the United Nations Global Compact. It demonstrates our commitment to bring sustainability to the center stage of our academics and research. The IIM Act encourages us to collaborate with institutions in India and abroad to advance management education and research. Towards this end, we entered into agreements with IIM Bangalore and the Andhra University School of International Business. Further, we are signing an MOU on the 29th of this month with the National Center for Good Governance, an institute under the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. We are in talks with reputed business schools in the SAARC region, Malaysia, and the US as well. We are also a trendsetter in good governance practices. To exemplify, we are the first to publish the regulations under the IIM Act that served as a model for others. We are hosting on our website a drone captured video of the progress of our campus construction every fortnight. After all, seeing is believing. Future holds immense promise for us. As a renowned professor at INSEAD France said, the job of good business schools is to contribute to the professionalization of management for the good of the society. Following this principle and in pursuit of the objects of IIM Act and the new Education Policy 2020, our commitment remains steadfast to building human capital endowed with good citizenship, knowledge and skills that the World Economic Forum recommends for India in its Future of Jobs report. Our aim is to make our students passionate practitioners of togetherness, tenderness, truthfulness, and thoughtfulness, as advocated by a member on our board, Ms. Amita Chatterjee, in her popular book, Joyful Living, Reflections of a Happy Soul. I'll be failing in my duty if I do not recall with gratitude on this occasion the liberal donation made by a distinguished scientist and philanthropist, Dr. B.R.L. Rao, who is in this audience. A native of Vizag, Dr. Rao created an endowment of rupees 2.22 crores in memory of his late daughter, Ms. Vani Rao, a brilliant alumna of IIM Ahmedabad. This contribution is being utilized by us for building a modern incubation center in our permanent campus and for awarding a gold medal every year to the girl students standing first in MBA, thus immortalizing Ms. Rao. For catalyzing our committed endeavor, I and my team at the Institute are ever so grateful to the central and state leadership, our board, the committees that contribute to our good functioning, and all the stakeholders for their continued patronage and partnership in our progress and success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request the Chairman, Board of Governors, to kindly address the gathering.
Dear Dr. Rajiv Kumar, my fellow board members, my dear students, distinguished guests and parents, ladies and gentlemen, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to this combined event of 4th and 5th convocations of IIM Visakhapatnam. Let me begin by congratulating the graduates and of course the meritorious performers. Despite the unprecedented caused by this once-in-a-century pandemic, you have proved your mettle with grit, determination, and perseverance, adjusting and adapting yourselves admirably to this new normal. Your success is therefore sweeter and compliment worthy. I must especially thank Rajiv for readily accepting my request to grace today's celebrations as the chief guest. Rajiv was a distinguished member of our board and was a chair of our finance committee in 2017. Before he assumed his present role as the vice chairman of Niti Aayog. As a renowned economist with rich global experience, Rajiv brings much dynamism and vibrancy to the policy framework of India. The advice of Rajiv, as always known, is well received, respected at the highest levels in the central and state governments. Though Rajiv's direct association as a member of our board was brief, the Institute continues to benefit from his advice and suggestions. For example, he helped us formulate a robust investment policy for the Institute that stood test of times. And I'm told we use it even today to a very good effect. Rajiv, we are greatly honored by your presence. It reflects your continuing interest in the progress, growth, and development of our institute. As the chairman of the board, I acknowledge with gratitude that the central and state governments have been contributing significantly to the progress, growth, and the smooth functioning of the institute. From my experience of chairing the boards at IIT Kanpur, later at IIM Raipur, and now at IIM Visakhapatnam, I'm amazed at the encouraging support and goodwill these institutions of national importance enjoy in the government, industry, and the society at large. The various initiatives of the institutes are well thought through and are being supported by a very discerning board. I take this opportunity to thank my fellow members on the board for the immense value add they bring to the table. Friends, just 5 years since inception and only 3 years since IIM Act of 2017 came into force, although small in the lifespan of an institute, are nevertheless an important milestone. It's really heartening that the institute enjoys today a first mover advantage on many fronts, maintaining a distinct place in the committee of its peers. I interact with a wide spectrum of people connected with the education sector and feel happy when I hear often that this institute has earned a good name in a very quick time. The director and his team of teaching and non-teaching staff therefore deserve compliments for their efforts in laying solid foundations and shaping this as a fine institution. With a bouquet of programs in management, education, and research that address the needs of aspirants as well as experienced. The institute is walking the extra mile in building managerial talent endowed with the right mix of policy and practice. With the students representing unto 21 states, 31% being girls, and a faculty representing 16 states, the institute represents diversity and national character in the true sense and spirit. The construction of the permanent campus of the institute is progressing well, despite the many challenges in mobilizing men and material. Given the fact that architects and the project management firm and the construction agency are reputed names in their respective fields, we are expecting that lost time would be made good and the campus would be fully ready as a 5-star Griha rated facility in less than a year from now. Friends, let me share my thoughts on the 3 aspects that I consider important, given their potential for us to evolve as a learning organization and bring sustainability at the core of our businesses. The pandemic has changed drastically the way we work and live. A silver lining in this unprecedented challenge is the opportunity for enhancing the footprint of education with greater availability, accessibility, and of course, affordability. I sit on the governing bodies of the foreign universities such as McGill, Canada, which are converting crisis into an opportunity and taking to the digital mode in a big way. The trend is theory and concepts are learned virtually outside the classroom through asynchronous self-study suiting one's own pace and convenience. Creative and collaborative learning for problem solving requires social interaction and is taking place on the campus on physical mode. Importantly, virtual mode facilitates engaging eminent faculty and management experts from anywhere in the world to bring students the benefits of value-added learning with no constraints of time or travel, cost or distance. To me, digitalization has opened new paradigms in learning and is offering hitherto unexplored pathways for scaling up knowledge sharing in speed, skill, scope, and specialization. It is, of course, essential to ensure that the design, development, and delivery of online content is imaginative and engaging, and address the network issues and bandwidth requirements. Cloud and robust learning management systems have a big role in this new normal. Significantly, digital mode is a great opportunity for the young graduates to continue professional education even in their employment or entrepreneurial careers. Suffice it to say that a hybrid or a phygital model is here to stay, with opportunities for institutions to offer judicious combination of online and offline learning content to the young as well as experienced audiences, and with convenient scheduling. Digital delivery that leverages social media is the winner in today's world of the young generation and the Gen Z. Responsible and meaningful use of social media can dramatically improve outreach and perception. It multiplies the power of communication and speed to market. It helps organizations maintain a constant, context-relevant, customized, personalized connect with its stakeholders. Social media has a role virtually in every function of an organization, encompassing people, processes, or products. It dramatically improves efficiency and effectiveness of customer connect and service delivery. The vibrancy of an organization is measured today by the nature and extent of its activity in the visibility in social media. It's a key building block for brand and image building for an organization, be it in its startup mode or as a mature organization. Those proficient in the use of social media tools and techniques can therefore greatly influence and drive the growth strategies of organizations. I'm sure Rajiv would agree with me here, given the good work and facilitation that he and his team at Niti Aayog are doing on promoting and facilitating countries' progress on sustainable development goals. I am happy sharing that the Institute is now a signatory to the Principles of Responsible Management Education, a United Nations Global Compact initiative. PRME emphasizes sustainability and helps equip business, students with understanding, ability, skills to draw on global best practices for creating long-term value for the stakeholders. Focus on transparency, sustainability, and social responsible practices is growing across the globe. Organizations are increasingly accountable to their stakeholders. The commitment and the impact of organizations on environment, social, and governance parameters is under close watch. Compliance can significantly impact the financial metrics of organizations positively. Similarly, GRI, which is a short form for Global Reporting Initiative, the standards help organizations understand their outward impact and communicate their endeavors to their stakeholders on issues such as economy, environment, and society. This increases accountability and enhances transparency on their contribution to sustainable development. It would therefore be worthwhile to develop expertise in this field and gain knowledge of the reporting standards to build capacities, the students as well as in the companies. With due recognition to such emerging needs, the Institute is constantly innovating to reach greater heights. With digitalization at the core of its vision and strategy, the focus would be to provide unique learning experience to varied knowledge seekers and distinct value addition. The Institute will also deepen its commitment to nurturing women-led startups and social entrepreneurship in a big way and accelerating their scale-up. I would like to share here that the board recently approved a policy to encourage the students to try their hand at translating their creative ideas into innovation by giving them the facility of a gap year, placement holiday, seed funding support, and scope for independent study. I'm sure this initiative will help entrepreneurship emerging as a significant graduation outcome of our students, serving the cause of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The goodwill that the Institute has earned over the past 5 years in government, business, and the society has placed it on a perfect launchpad to rededicate itself to achieving the objects set out in IIM Act 2017 with sincerity of purpose and deep sense of commitment. Let me once again congratulate all the graduating students and the medal winners. I compliment the parents and members of the families for providing their children with the support to withstand the pressures of a very demanding course, and that too in these tough times. Just to advise to my dear students when they go in real life, which I also tell my own company executives, to stay humble and stay agile, because humility forces you to learn continuously, because arrogance of knowledge is the worst thing in a fast changing world, because we need to learn continuously. Secondly, disruptions are taking place much faster than ever before. So we have to stay agile. The pandemic has taught us agility. Look at how governments, organizations recovered and acted fast. We need to retain this muscle also in good times. Before I conclude, I once again thank Rajiv for finding time in his busy schedule to be with us here today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our chief guest for today, Dr. Rajiv Kumar. Dr. Rajiv Kumar is the Vice Chairman, Niti Aayog, in the rank and status of a cabinet minister. He also serves as the Chancellor of Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics, Pune. His earlier stint in the government was initially with the Ministry of Industry and subsequently with the Ministry of Finance as economic advisor during the reform years of 1991-94. Dr. Rajiv Kumar also served as independent director on the central boards of the Reserve Bank of India and the State Bank of India. He has vast experience in working in the government, academia, industry associations, as well as in international financial institutions. Dr. Rajiv Kumar has a PhD in economics from Lucknow University and a DPhil from Oxford University, UK. He is the author of several books on India's economy and national security, and is also a widely recognized economic columnist
and a leading speaker on issues in the Indian political economy. Sir, we are privileged to have you as our chief guest today. I invite you to kindly deliver the convocation address.
Yes, Bharatiya, members of the board of IIM Vizag, Professor M. Chandrasekhar, faculty members, and perhaps most importantly, the graduating students for whom this is a proud moment, and their parents, who must be equally proud. I congratulate all of you graduating students, especially because this convocation is being held on the most auspicious day of the Guru Purnima. And let me also therefore take this opportunity to start off by saying that you can never forget the debt that you owe to your gurus. And I hope you will continue with that as you go forward in life. This is my second time that I am lucky to address the convocation. It was determined once before, and I really wanted to do it in person because I have very long and very fond memories of Visakhapatnam. My first ever conference, economic conference, I attended at Andhra University, Voltaire, in 1975, 46 years ago, when I suppose only a very few of us were around, including those in the faculty members. So I had wanted to come there, but I'm sure that time will come and I'll be there to see how Vizag has changed and the long journey that it has gone through, including that of now having the IIM based there. But before I go any further, I must confess that I am truly overwhelmed by the affection that Hari, my friend, has articulated, has offered. Thank you very much for that, Hari, and for reminding me that I was a member of the 2017 Board of Governors. And I've been following the achievements of the Institute since, and truly they have been very impressive. The 2-year postgraduate diploma program in digital governance under METI is perhaps unique, and therefore congratulations. The 100% placement record is also wonderful and noteworthy. And the building capacity of aspiring women entrepreneurs is again an amazing initiative. And I hope that we will tie up with Niti Aayog's Women Entrepreneurial Platform, because that synchronization, that synergy will yield great dividends. Congratulations also on your PhD program, which I believe is the first in the new age IIMs. This, as Hari has said, all these achievements offer a launch pad, a wonderful launch pad for the Institute to go forward. And I wonder what the aspirations should be and what are the objectives and aspirations that you have established for yourself. I am sure that you would want to improve your QS rankings or the rankings in the Financial Times or the Times Higher Education or the Center for World University Rankings, where, quite unfortunately, Indian institutes do not figure at this point of time. May I plead, as it were, appeal to the faculty members under the guidance of Professor Chandrasekhar to set ourselves a target that we will break through these rankings and create a record for us, for the Indian institutes. And that, I think, would be most creditable, and I think this is a time to establish those objectives and achieve them in 5 years or 10 years. But it is essential to establish that objective for ourselves as we are here today. But ladies and gentlemen, I also have a different thought in this regard. I'm not sure what is the criteria for these rankings that are used by the Western world, by the global institutions, etc. For natural science institutes and engineering institutes, I understand, because these rankings could be based on very easily measurable, quantifiable criteria, like the number of patents or designs or, or whatever that you have, or the refereed papers, etc. that you got. But for social science institutes, like the institutes of management, what should this criteria be? And do they reflect the societal requirements of these institutes? So my suggestion, therefore, is that the Association of IIMs in India may get together to devise our own rankings which capture not only these criteria that these established indices have, which I mentioned earlier, but also all the societal and socially relevant criteria that would be applicable to our country and to our states and to our society. Because I am sure that these would be different and more and better enriched than what we have today. Just for example, do these rankings include how the curriculum of the social science institutes treat climate change? Do they include how they treat inequity and inequality? And do their alumni impact social issues like human rights, gender equality, and lowering the widening of social the access and improving the access to quality education in the country? Now, I think these are all important criteria to rank social science institutes, and therefore I suggest that a time has come to rank to create our new rankings and then go beyond what they have in the established rankings, the QS and the Times Higher Education, etc. And let me elaborate on this point about widening the access to quality education. I'm thrilled that we are on the same page, Hari and I, because he talked at length about the online education and the importance of developing MOOCs and online curriculum, etc. Because today, the India Skills Report 2021 says that 46.59% of management graduates don't get, only 46.59 management graduates get good quality education. 34% of our engineering graduates are employable, only that. The 3,500 students that are in the IIMs get that quality education, but what about the rest? They are left behind, and they are left far behind. So therefore, and I therefore submit to you that the institute can build upon its weekend program that it has for professionals and executives around the Visakhapatnam area, to expand it much further into the entire region, into the state of Andhra, Telangana, and the neighboring states, and to create a network of all the management institutions which are not as lucky perhaps as the IIMs are, and extend their online education to all of them in a collaborative manner. And I think this is perhaps what is the purpose of the national education policy, permitting us to go online with online education, establish our satellite campuses in everywhere if we are an institute which have got the NAC NAC accreditation as far as we can, which is required. So I think it's time has come for IIM Vizag to spread its network, across the region, and to try and create the access to quality education for those in the hinterland, those in the regions where such education is not available, and to the students which may not be as well off as those who come to our institutes. And similarly here, I think again a time has come to look at how you conduct our entrance examinations, because I think it's too highly weighted in favor of grades and some skills. Does the entrance exams of the IIMs take into account the regional dimension, the income dimension, as some universities do? Do they give any weight to these aspects, or to sports, or to other skills? And if not, maybe it's time to create a more holistic entrance examination and entrance competition than what we have at the moment. Because I think we will agree, especially these days, when, as Hari has talked about, agility is of the key, is importance. Such agility is not confined only to getting good grades. And we must break out, in fact, of this whole system of coaching and tutorship, etc., which has created the quotas of the world, where you get children with a unidimensional personality, and we bring them and develop them as we go forward, and in fact, maybe even exaggerate that unidimensional quality that we get. I think it's time in India to go back, as it were, to the days that I grew up, when a holistic personality, a multi-dimensional personality, a personality which had sensitivity to the societal needs, is inculcated in the student at every level. And I hope that IIM Vizag would lead the way in this, because this is the crying need of the hour for our country. And so therefore, that's the thing. But let me take this thought even further, on which is that, who are we producing these students for? The answer would be that we are producing these students for a market-based, open, capitalist society, which is globally open. But what sort of capitalist society are we talking about? The 18th, 19th century, where profit maximization was the only criteria? But that's surely passé. Today, it's now common practice to talk about the triple bottom line. And I'll elaborate on it further. But also, I want to bring to your notice that in our situation, in the Indian situation, we must recognize our specificity, that India is perhaps, and I'm making a strong statement here, friends, India is perhaps the only country in the world history which is trying to create a capitalist economy based on full-blooded democracy, full-blooded parliamentary democracy with enshrinement of human rights. We cannot do what the American early capitalists did of buying away the Senate of Illinois for the railroads to go west, or for others to do whatever they did, and the robber barons period of the so on. The rights of the people, whether it's the farmers who are giving you land, whether it's the workers who are working with us, all of these is very different today in 21st century than what it was in the 19th and the 18th century, or even the 20th century. So therefore, we will have to build a capitalist society which is a partnership society, which in his own inimitable way, the Mahatma talked about the capitalists being the patron, the capitalists being the sort of, what is the word is used, but the people who presided over a partnership in prosperity. And that society you already know in new enterprises, in all the digital giants that you've got, is a shared prosperity where every employee has an ESOP, where every employee is a partner in the profit and in the success of the company, which is why you today have the farmers' organizations, because that is what you need. What I'm saying basically is that we have to prepare our children, whether for India or globally, for a new model of capitalism. And where else but in our country, which is faced with this reality of full-blooded democracy and the binding constraint of carbon footprint, and the necessity to reduce inequality as we go along to make the society sustainable, where else would be managed an experiment of this nature? And given our scale and our diversity and our huge possibilities, I submit to you that the IIMs, being the leading social science institutes, should create a curriculum which is based on brand new case studies, which will talk about the quadruple bottom line to which the students must now adhere to. And the quadruple bottom line would be profit, ecology, equity, and societal impact. And I know for a fact that there are funds even like the Pegasus Capital who are only investing in projects with social impact, with positive social impact, with positive carbon, negative carbon footprint, etc. So therefore, friends, and this is an appeal to my young students here, my young friends, think about working towards a conscious capitalism. Think about a capitalism which will not just think about profit maximization. And I know that there are some industries in this country, in these firms, and Jubilant is one of them, which has in its objective function all the four impacts, all the four variables and functions that I talk about. This calls for a revolution in our thinking and in our curriculum formation. But I think its time has come, because this should become the norm, and this has to be what this becomes, and this has to be the focus of the education and IIMs as we go forward. I am so glad that Hari mentioned innovation, and repeatedly so. And I'm also so glad that the IIM Vizag has focused its attention on innovation. And the ongoing fourth industrial revolution, we know, has to be harnessed we have to harness that revolution so that we can pole vault into the new era, and pole vault the economic transition, the term used by Professor Marshfekar, which goes beyond leapfrogging. But that's what we need to meet the exploding aspirations of our young population. And to harness that, I think we would need to bank upon innovation as much as we can. So that's the way forward. And in this regard, in this respect, I think we should be humble enough to recognize that since independence, there have been very few product innovations in our countries. I'm sure there have been some, but I think it will be a very good project for the incoming class of graduates to list all the product innovations that we have done in this country since our independence, and see what has been their social impact and what has even have been their profit impact. Because somehow I have a feeling that this has not been a strong suit in our case. So let me then define what is an innovation ecosystem which we need to create in this country, to which the Honorable Prime Minister has drawn attention many times, and to which we in Niti Aayog are working assiduously under the Atal Innovation Mission. An innovation ecosystem would be defined as a system of interdependencies among creative people, markets, industry, civil society, military, and the government, where an innovative idea has a high chance of becoming a viable enterprise. In a well-functioning system, such interdependencies are dependable. I repeat, in a well-working, well-functioning innovation ecosystem, such interdependencies are dependable. And this trend requires that all of us work together. Significant achievements have been made in the last 1 decade. A robust innovation system, and I have many examples that I can give you from the Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, etc., etc. But they are beginning to now yield results. We have the third largest startup system in the world today. It's amazing. Already we have 21 unicorns with a value of $73.2 billion. And this is expected to grow to 50 unicorns by 2022 itself. The Atal Innovation Mission, which is a part of Niti Aayog and whose governing board I am proud to be chairing, has already established 7,500 tinkering labs, which offer the latest technological equipment to our young secondary students, whether they be optical sensors or 3D printing or electronic circuitry. All that is available in these tinkering labs. And they have 30,000 mentors, all working voluntarily with these labs. Similarly, we have established 69 incubation centers. Therefore, all this innovation ecosystem is beginning to take shape. And I think we need to strengthen it as we go forward, because we are still 48th in the Global Innovation Index. Yes, we have risen from 57th to the 48th, but our potential, India's tradition with this long tradition of innovation and inventions is much bigger. And I think we should set ourselves an aspirational target of breaking through into the top 10 as we go forward. And here, friends, I must say that just a couple of days ago, I was meeting some startup people, and they said that idea is not the problem in India. It is the execution of the idea which has become the real problem in India. And the execution of that idea is state specific, is local condition specific. And one size will not fit all in converting an idea into an innovation. Therefore, once more, I think the IIMs will do very well to map all the constraints that you find in the innovation ecosystem at the local level, at the state level, and make a list of these. Just like as Team Lead India has made a list of the regulatory compliances and total them up to 67,000. I think we can do the same for the innovation ecosystem, because that is the key. Unless we successfully innovate, we will be left behind. We'll not be able to use the fourth industrial revolution. We'll not be able to harness it. And there is no answer to India's challenges except to use technology, the emerging technology, the turbulent technology, the fast changing technology for our needs. And I'm sure we can do it. Finally, friends, let me come to the economy and what the economy holds for our young graduates as they graduate out today. As we have mentioned already, this has been very stressful times, and I'm so glad to see that you've done well even during these times. And the pandemic struck us as we were bottoming out of our economic cycle in the last quarter of 2019-20. In March 2020, we were hoping that we'll see the upswing of the cycle before we were struck. But thankfully, we are beginning to get out of it. All the indicators that I see, the high frequency indicators, the medium-term indicators, the investment indicators, the capacity expansion in some of our critical industries like steel and others, cement, are beginning to look up. Of course, it will depend entirely almost on the nature and shape of the pandemic as we go forward. But, and God forbid that we have a third wave, but even if we do, I'm sure you will agree that we are far better prepared than what we were earlier. And therefore, its impact on economic activity will not be as big as it was for the first wave and the second wave. The ICMR has already said that 2/3 of our population has now got immunity, whether it is vaccine-induced or it is through infection. But that's a little bit of a silver lining at the end of this very long tunnel that we have been through in the last year and a half. But I submit to you that you, especially at your age, have to think of the long future. You have to think of the time when India will celebrate its centenary of independence or of becoming a republic. And I think in the next 25 years, when you will be about 45 or so, in 2045, you must rest assured that India will be the third, but maybe the second largest economy in the world. And at that time, when you will be around 45 at the prime of your life, people in the world will look towards you for solutions and for answers and for the way forward. Not just in Asia, not just in India, but even I dare say, even in North America and Europe, people will look to India and Asia for possible solutions to grapple with the challenges ahead. And therefore, you would have to take be much more cognizant and much more aware of the world challenges at the global scale. The global community, the global stage will be your arena of work, and therefore you will have to be global citizens. And therefore, I think again, the curriculum has now to be designed where we have special papers and special, special topics on making our students much more globally sensitive to the global economy, to the global trade, to the trends in technology and finance and and migration, etc., etc. But I think because that is what they'll be required they'll be accepted to know when they are 20 years from now at the prime of their life and becoming and holding executive positions. But this has to be combined at the same time with much bigger focus on our local conditions, a much greater anchoring in our traditions. Because unless we have that anchoring of our traditions and of our local situation, we'll be lost in the choppy waters of the global world. And that is, I think, the requirement that unless we can mainstream traditional knowledge, but based on hard scientific evidence, as we are trying to do in Niti Aayog, in trying to mainstream Ayurveda into the modern science. Because we know that genome sequencing is all right, but we know also that 97% of human DNA is common. But we also know that only 3% of the gut microbia is common across the human beings. And now we are mapping that. And that has been the basis of Ayurveda for a very long time. So if we can work with Professor Rajesh Bhatkar and Dr. Nagin, etc., in bringing scientific evidence to bear upon our traditional knowledge, I think we would do ourselves and the world a great favor. It's not for any no mean reason, no sort of silly reason that the National Institute of Health in the US has today a multi-million-dollar project on mapping the gut microbia, which comes very close to what we are doing, what we have done in the past for our life. So I think this is where we need to root ourselves in our traditions, on scientifically validated traditions, and yet have our horizons on the global scale, on the global right. And this, I think, is the new India, is the new Indian student that we are going to be looking for and expecting here. One other thing, and which is that I talked about the quadruple bottom line earlier for the society. This has to be, my young friends, you have to inculcate and imbibe this in your personal life. You cannot become pursuers of only material satisfaction. That has not been our tradition. You have to put in place, you have to internalize the quadruple bottom line of material achievements, ecological carefulness, sensitivity, equity, which means to compassion, and societal impact as you go forward. You know, in our tradition, satisfaction has been given a very high premium. Even in fact, so big a premium that sometimes it makes us fatalistic and lethargic, and I'm not talking about that. But I'm also talking about the fact that we as a society have never hankered only after a single dimension of material achievement and consumerism. We've always had a multicultural, multi-dimensional aspect to our society. And I appeal to you, young friends, that if you achieve that, if you internalize that, and if you can work with your social counterparts, if you can provide to your country the energies that it needs, a new India will surely be born. Today is the time when we have to create, when we have to make development into a Jan Andolan. We have to, unless we make it, we will not be able to achieve what we are set out to achieve. And it can be achieved only and only if you step back from your own material aspirations and think about what you can give to the society, what you can give to the country, because that is what is important. I'm so happy these days to note, and Niti Aayog is an amazing crucible. So many young people now reversing the trend from going abroad. There is beginning of a reverse brain drain happening at the moment. People giving up jobs and positions abroad to come and work for us, Niti Aayog, young people. And that is because they see that the opportunities are galore. The opportunities that India offers, the potential that India has, is probably much bigger than what anywhere else in the West has. And I think this is what I appeal to you, that please look for how you can contribute to nation building and to making India the Vishwaguru that Swami Vivekananda talked about. And this I end by saying will be achieved by the two mantras that Hari has offered, and which is humility and agility. And I hope you will take this to heart. And I hope, therefore, and I wish you all the best. And once more, congratulate you for what you have achieved. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. That was superb. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an engaging and interesting talk. I request our director, Professor M. Chandrasekhar, to deliver the vote of thanks and present the memento to our chief guest.
Sir, on behalf of the entire institute family, let me say how obliged we are to you. It's very kind of you to spare time for us despite your packed schedule. Your address, as always, sir, is engaging, educative, and enlightening. There are many precious takeaways from it for all of us here. We do look forward to the benefit of your advice and guidance in the future too, sir. Sir, as a token of our respect and gratitude, permit me to present to you our institute memento. I request you to accept it. We will courier it to your office, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And bye for now. And see you again soon. Thank you.
The names of candidates will be called and their images will be displayed for awarding the degree of Masters of Business Administration, academic years 2018-20. A. Balu Sairam, A. Sri Sai Ganesh, Abhinav Akash, Abhishek Kumar, Adhish Bhandari, Aditya Sil, Alaparti Navasai Krishna, Andavarpu Priyanka, Anubhav Chaturvedi, Appari Ganadeep, Arijit Ghosh, Arun Prasad KR, Ashutosh Kumar Gupta, Vaibhav Kumar Singh, Biplav, Chintam Tarun, Deepankar Das, Divyam Bhushan Kumar, Divyanshu Shekhar, G. Lohit, Gundela Sagar, Jawahar P, Joseph Thomas Kurisinkal, Joydeep Datta, Lakshmi Priya S.J., Mandava Venkat Lakshmi Shravan Kumar, Mendem Ravi Teja, Naveen Kumar Allu, Palla Geet Sai Sandeep, Paras Kumar, Peddinti Lakshmikant, Preksha Paliwal, Priyanka Singh, R. Vignesh, Remalli Akhil, Rituparna Banerjee, Rohit Kumar Rastogi, Sachi Kariwala, Sahil, Saurabh Garg, Sayali Batle, Shaurya Mishra, Shrikant N, Sudhanshu Shekhar Nahak, Suraj Anthony, Sutesh K, Veeramachaneni Tejasvi, Vunteddu Bhavana, Vapre Deepak Machindra, Anup Jermaine Serrao, Anurag Malik, Anwar Adnan, Arvind M, Arun Anthony, Ashutosh, Bhargava K, Bharati Goyal, Chenipalli Lakshmi Shravya, Chintamaneni Sai Charan Teja, Darshan Dayanand, Devdeep Nanda, Deepti D. Menon, Devarapalli Sudarshan, Italapaka Shiva Durga Swaroop, G.S. Mohit, Hardik Shani, Hariharan S, Hitesh Pal Jadaun, J. Seduraman, Joshi Ajinkya Sunil, K. Deepti Reddy, Karthik Subramanyam, Kishore K, Kuldeep Makwana, Laltendu Bal, Mahima Chauhan, Mandula Prithvi, Mansi Gupta, Mavuru Satya Nag Sai Sudhir, Mayur Bhosle, Namita Singh, Pansare Rohan Anil, Pavan Kumar Naraparaju, Rahul Prasad, Rajan Sandeep Bara, Ramteke Rohan Sandeep, Rohit Kataria, S. Gautam Badri Ramachandran, Sahini Sai Kruti, Sanket Mandal, Saurabh Shiv Singh Yadav, Shivam Kumar Pandey, Shubham, Sonali Gupta, Suraj James, Tanveer Singh, Tadakamalla Satvik Krishna, Tushar Saran, Vaibhav Raj, Vemuri Venkata Naga Krishna Chaitanya, Jaydev Patra.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Governors,
Upon the recommendation of the Academic Council, I have the honor to present Mr. A. Balu Sairam and 100 others who have successfully completed the prescribed course of studies and fulfilled all other requirements. I request the Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam, to confer Master of Business Administration degree to these candidates.
By the authority vested in me by the Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam, I award you Master of Business Administration degree, and I charge that by thought, word, and deed, you prove yourselves worthy of the award.
The names of the candidates will be called and their images will be displayed for awarding the postgraduate certificate in business management academic year 2018-19. Alavelli Venkata Harun Raj, Anumula Srinivas, Aruna Surabatula, Achi Kamal Shekhar Reddy, B. Suresh Datta, Balla Arun Kumar, Bodhisattva Roy, D. Madhusudan, Datla Rajesh Verma, Gautam Sengupta, Hari Anepu, Jagadeshwari Potula, Janapareddy Alokraj, Jyoti Baye, Krishna Chaitanya Jani, Mahesh Yadav, Malladi Vijaya Chamundi, Mohammad Changesh Ali Khan, Murali Bura, Palakollu Ravi Babu, Prerna Baid, R.L. Sushma, Raghupatruni Santosh Vamsi, Raja Sarat Kumar Boddu, Rai Naveen Kumar, Revati Kanumuri, Sivakrishna Bingu, Subrat Kumar Sahu, Sujit Bhupati Raju, T.A.R. Narsimha Rao, V.M. Krishna Sai Podila, Venkata Gopala Krishna Rachapudi. Mr. Chairman, BOG, upon the recommendation of the Academic Council, I have the honor to present Mr. Alavelli Venkata Harun Raj and 31 others who have successfully completed the prescribed course of studies and fulfilled all other requirements. I request the Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam, to confer the postgraduate certificate in business management to these candidates.
By the authority vested in me by the Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam, I award you postgraduate certificate in business management, and I charge that by thought, word, and deed, you prove yourselves worthy of the award.
The names of candidates will be called and their images will be displayed for awarding the degree of Masters of Business Administration, academic years 2019-21. Abhijit Singh, Abhishek Bori, Abhinaya S, Amandeep Ayush, Anil Kumar, Anubhav Singh, Aradhya, Arpit Purohit, Ashutosh Kumar Singh, Ayush Chaudhary, Boddetti Chaitanya Sai Charan, Bommalli Govardhan Surya Sai, C.H. Satyashravya, Chatrarthi Sai Akhil Gopal, Daniel Winston J, Darshan Shukla, Deepak Kumar Singh, Deepak Sairaja KM, Deshpande Sharang Shrikant, Divya Gupta, Garikipati Janvi, Gaurav Agarwal, Gaurav Nishad, Govindji Anandji, Harish Mohan, Harshit Agarwal, Himanshu Yadav, Ipshita Mohapatra, Itisha Tyagi, Jason Anuj Subba, Kartik Prasad K, Kishore S, Mayank Goswami, Deepak Kumar Sahu, Modi Purva Tarun Kumar, Maithili N, Neha Abraham P, Nishtha Khatodia, Pankhuri Agarwal, Rahul Maitra, Ram Kumar R, Repakulla Maunika, Rupal Bhatt, Sipanna Divakar, Shilajit Datta, Shinghala Meera Rajesh Bhai, Shivika Sinha, Shweta Sachdeva, S.K. Kamru Zaman, Sonam Jain, Soumya Ranjan Sarangi, Sparsh Bhayare, Sumit Kumar Chaudhary, Swati Dash, Shweta S, Trivedi Viraj Pushpendra Bhai, Vaishali Chandani, Vani Khurana, Vidya Sagar, Vivekanand, Arshi Senapati, Abhijit Sharma, Agarwal Pooja Rajesh, Ankit, Ankur, Anup G. Nair, Anuj Suneja, Aryan Agarwal, Arzu Jaiswal, Barnisha Lepcha, Deepangi Priyadarshan, Bhushan Sukhdev Bhyogade, Dakshita Bhagat, Deepika Datta, Goka Krishna Chaitanya Sai, Hilal Mohammed, Himanshu Kashyap, Jaskirat Singh Bindra, Jaita Matreja, K. Asha Jyoti, Kanav Mehra, Kanchan Krishan, Lingala Vamsi, Malvika Umesh, Manas Rastogi, Mohammad Mukarram Hussain, Mehta Drashti Prashant, Moida Rubhavan, Girija Shankar Dey, Namit Chadbar, Naralanka Devi Prasad Dora, Naram Kirti Madhuri, Parul Hingorani, Prashant Sharma, Pratyusha Sharma, Ravi Anand, Ravi Kiran Murikipudi, Raj Hariprasad Rangnekar, Tallada Rama Naidu, Ronak Poli, Ruchit Soni, Ruchita Khanna, Ruksar Chaudhary, Sachu S, Sagar Mukherjee, Sanyukta Sahi, Sarvesh Patidar, Saurav Mishrilal Parihar, Shaivalini, Shubham Gupta, Shubham Sharma, Siri Tanmay Bunam, Shivaranjani R, Soumya Sneh, Shweta Sabu, Vallate Akshay Ramesh, Vedant Abhay Bhalerao, Vemulapalli Pragnya, Vijay Yadav, Vinay Bhoj, Vivek D, Yashwanti Polinen, Amit Barabte, Sailesh S, Rohit Malhotra. Mr. Chairman, Board of Governors, upon the recommendation of the Academic Council, I have the honor to present Mr. Abhijit Singh and 124 others who have successfully completed the prescribed course of studies and fulfilled all other requirements I request the Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam, to confer Master of Business Administration degree to these candidates.
By the authority vested in me by the Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam, I award you Master of Business Administration degree, and I charge that by thought, word, and deed, you prove yourselves worthy of the award.
The names of the candidates will be called and their images will be displayed for awarding the degree of Master of Business Administration, academic year 2019-21. Abhishek Maiti, Geet Anantagiri, Lakshmi Soumya Sugala, Leela Ram Pranit Ketala, Murli Krishna Jakula, Paidi Ravi Kumar, Sandeep Raja Jonnada, Shilpa Raju Kakarlapudi, Snigdha Thakur, Suchitra Chitturi, Sumit Mukherjee, Surya Teja Challa, Tota Swarnalata, Vasudevan Sabavarapu, Vijay Kumar Singh, Balla Arun Kumar, Bodhisattva Roy, Hari Anepu, Janapareddy Alok Raj, Mahesh Yadav, Prerna Vaid, Revati Kanumuri, Subrat Kumar Sahu, V.M. Krishna Sai Podila. Mr. Chairman, BOG, upon the recommendation of the Academic Council, I have the honor to present Mr. Abhishek Maiti and 23 others who have successfully completed the prescribed course of studies and fulfilled all other requirements. I request the Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam, to confer the Master of Business Administration degree to these candidates.
By the authority vested in me by the Indian Institute of Management, Visakhapatnam, I award you Masters of Business Administration degree, and I charge that by thought, word, and deed, you prove yourselves worthy of the award.
The IIMV Gold Medal for obtaining the first rank in the Masters of Business Administration, academic years 2018-20, has been awarded to Mansi Gupta. The IIMV Gold Medal for obtaining the second rank in the Masters of Business Administration, academic years 2018-20, has been awarded to Rituparna Banerjee. The Vani Rao Memorial Gold Medal for Scholastic Achievement among girl students, academic years 2018-20, has been awarded to Mansi Gupta. The IIMV Gold Medal for the best all-round performance, academic years 2018-20, has been awarded to Rituparna Banerjee.
the Indian Institute of Management Visakhapatnam Gold Medal for obtaining first rank in the postgraduate certificate program in business management for experienced professionals of the PGCEP 2018 batch has been awarded to Ms. Prerna Baid. The Indian Institute of Management Visakhapatnam Gold Medal for obtaining second rank in the postgraduate certificate program in business management for experienced professionals of the PGCEP 2018 batch has been awarded to Mr. Hari Anepu.
The IIMV Gold Medal for obtaining the first rank in the Masters of Business Administration, academic years 2019-21, has been awarded to Divya Gupta and C.H. Satyashravya. The IIMV Gold Medal for obtaining the second rank in the Masters of Business Administration, academic years 2019-21, has been awarded to Sachu S. The Vani Rao Memorial Gold Medal for Scholastic Achievement among girl students, academic years 2019-21, has been awarded to Divya Gupta. The IIMV Gold Medal for the Best All-Round Performance, academic years 2019-21, has been awarded to C.H. Satyashravya.
The Indian Institute of Management Visakhapatnam Gold Medal for Scholastic Performance in the Masters of Business Administration PGPEX for the academic year 2019-21 has been awarded to the following two students: Ms. Prerna Baid, Ms. Shilpa Raju Kakarlapudi.
I now request our director, Professor Chandrasekhar, to present a memento to our chairman, BOG, as a token of our gratitude.
Sir, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way, said John C. Maxwell, the famous American author. You symbolize precisely that outstanding quality, sir. Please accept this memento from all of us here at the Institute as a token of our affection, respect, and gratitude, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
I request everyone to kindly stand for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव